Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. We got a really good show lined up for y'all. Today we're joined with one half of the disc golf world, Swiss. How's it going, Swiss?
What's going on, guys? Great to have me. Thank you. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, thanks for coming, dude. It's we had Jefferson on a few months ago, and we've been waiting to have you on and biting at the bits.
Some would say the better half of disc golf world.
Yeah. I think the older you are, I could see many people consider the better. Certainly. But yeah, we have our each of our own styles and approach. And when you're 22, it's a little bit different than
oh, for sure.
at a 40.
But that's what makes it fun. That's what I love about your channel. Two different point of views on the thing.
Yeah, man. Like it's funny how it's like kind of worked out. Like it's kind of weird. Like to think like, man, in all honesty, like the best part about what we do is what I kind of love is like everybody comes up to us and they're like, oh man, we've been fans since day one. And it's like, we've been watching forever, like over a year. And it's like, man, guys, we've only done this for a year and a half. Not even like a year and a couple of months. Like it just kind of goes to show like the content that we make is kind of like feels like it's been there all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of cool to be able to create.
Yeah, for sure. That's in such a short amount of time too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, y'all have built a huge or a great following in that short amount of time. I mean, and I think we said the same thing with Jefferson. It's so entertaining, and you get your information. It's quicker. It's not drawn out over a long period of time, and y'all's voices are not dicking on Jefferson, but your voice is this like
perfect voice.
When you hear your voice, you're like, Swiss baby.
Oh man, the best part is like, granted, like we did our first half tour this year, and we did one last year at the end, and I think like a lot of the fans kind of discovered us late in that tour, and then like we blew up in the winter when we were doing videos every day, and then like. So, like, when we were on that first tour, it would be wild to have fans come up and, like, not know us because we're really not on camera, right?
Yeah.
And, like, and just be, like, hear me and Jefferson talking and be like, are you Swiss? Or are you JK? Or, like, you know what I mean? And it's just wild. Just by our voice. And it's like, man, people do this. And it's pretty it's pretty cool to, like, have that. That's been, like, man, when I hear that, like, when I hear people like, oh, I can recognize your voice, I'm like, man, you're a true fan.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of neat.
Well, that's how I recognized you. I heard your voice when we were at MCU or MCO. I was like, that's Swiss for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
I know that voice.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, MCO is great. Like, man, could I to go on a rant?
Mm-hmm.
Like, MCO was probably one of the best stops on our first run this tour this year. In all honesty, you guys showed out. And it was pretty refreshing.
It's awesome.
It's like obviously, everybody who watched the coverage has seen like some light attendances throughout some of those spots, and like we've been to tournaments where I was like, "What's going on?" type stuff. Like, and just like even in my own home state where I was disappointed at Champions Cup, I was just like, "What's happening?" And then but to have MCO like right after a dud in Jonesboro and just seeing the community like. Insane what Tennessee's doing. And the funny thing is like I played like quite a bit of like Tennessee's top courses too. So it's like to be embraced by the community and knowing like I've kind of hit a number of states across like courses across the state, I think is like cool too. I love Tennessee disc golf.
That's awesome. Absolutely. Thanks. Yeah, I'm glad that Tennessee showed up, you know.
Yeah. What's your favorite course that you got to play in Tennessee?
It was actually last tour, me and Jefferson split the ride home. So, like, he had to take his grandmother home, and I got to ride the minivan back by myself, and I hit Bud Hill.
Okay.
And that course is – so, of course, like, it was the first time I threw a disc golf course by myself in probably 3.5 months. And it was just a great experience to be out there. It was just cool. Bud Hill is, like, really sick.
Yeah.
But we hit up man, why can't I think of the one in Memphis, outside
Hogwood.
of Memphis?
So
Yeah.
Memphis is
Yeah.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Come on, GK just did a
Yeah,
I couldn't
skins there. I
tell.
can't think of it.
I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking
I'm out on this one, boys.
Yeah. We hit up that one. GK did a skins at it. Like we did it right before we were throwing while GK was doing the skins.
Oh, okay,
So
wow.
we were ahead of them. And then like when we stayed in Nashville, we got to hit I think 3 courses. And like we even went on like a private property course.
Oh, wow.
Like, that was,
That's
like,
cool.
Yeah, like it was pretty wild. So like we got a nice little tour when we were in Nashville too. So that was cool.
I like
I
the-
just
I
wanted
like-
to go on my rant.
Yeah, I like to think that the Tennessee scene's pretty strong.
Yeah,
Like
pretty
even
solid.
from Knoxville to Nashville to Memphis even. I mean, I've never been out to Memphis and played, but I know the Nashville scene and the Knoxville scene. And then you get up there to C. Dick and Zach Melton country up there in
Northeastern.
Yeah, Johnson City, Kingsport. It's huge. I mean, it's fucking huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's funny because like I'm not ragging on you. Don't think this is a diss, but I'll do that later. Essentially, like every stop we go to, it's awesome because like you hear like this is the Mecca or this, and like every like little spot has its own unique twist, and it's just kind of weird to like be cool like in an area in the community and like just seeing like what they think of their disc golf is, and like that's man like in all honesty like. Hey, I love doing the channel. I love doing the content for everybody, but like experiencing the people like while on tour in these different communities, and these different types of courses, and like being embraced by everybody, like is the best part about being on tour by far, like hands down.
I can imagine
just being able to experience that. But yeah, everywhere we go, it's like, hey, I know Charlotte's really big. But Austin's disc golf's pretty big.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But it's like.
Is that Tennessee?
But like everybody has it.
Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
think like you know what I mean, and that's cool. Like everyone loves to represent
Yeah.
that area, and that's the best part about disc golf.
That is funny. Yeah.
But as far as like Tennessee showing out what I was able to witness and the people I played with, the courses I've experienced by myself with people, Tennessee is like should be an underrated like destination disc golf spot.
You heard it here.
Should be out there more. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Especially fall. Especially Bud Hill in fall was sick. Yeah, Bud Hill in fall was sick. So.
Going back to what you were saying about attendance earlier,
Sure.
do you think, have you noticed that the attendance in general this year has been pretty weak compared to last year even?
From the stops that we've been to, yeah, you got to keep in mind, like, last year's tour, we were hitting, you know what I mean, we hit Worlds, we hit D-Glow, we're hitting plus events.
Yeah.
Majors. And so, yeah, you're going to have, like, larger turnouts then. But as far as, like, what I saw this year and what I experienced, like, probably the 2, like, biggest turnouts that I can recall just easily off my head was MCO and Waco.
Okay.
Like, the 2 most, like, hey, this is a great group, a crew. And I would say, like, considering Florida's first event, like, it had a great turnout, too. Like, considering, like, I was expecting nothing out of chess.com, but, like, people turned out for it being a first-time tournament, and it was really impressive. I was really surprised by that. But, like, on the reverse, like, man, Jonesboro was really light. Like, yeah, Jonesboro was light. Champions Cup was just brutal.
Does that make you nervous?
Yes.
Yeah, that's,
absolutely.
I understand.
It's funny that you say that because, like, we're working on, me and Jay have been working on a couple of videos and stuff, and that's something that we're looking and researching to, like, tackle. Is, you know what I mean? I think we saw the downturn last year, and we all got kind of, I don't want to say we got sold, but we got, like, excited with UDisc's, like, stats and, like, hey, we built this many courses, this many more people are playing, and that's, like, beautiful. Like, that's, but, like, stats kind of, in a way, like, also turn out. But, like, if you look at stuff, like, you look at the numbers as far as, like, viewership on, like, even content across the board, it's down.
Yeah.
Attendance is down. You know what I mean? And, like, there's a moment where it's like, oh, man, like, when we're on the road, we're watching it, and we're just like, hey, maybe summer hasn't hit. It's still cold places. And it's ticking up now, obviously, because summer hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, yeah. There's some need to be concerned if I'm the DGPT.
For sure.
And, like, as a sport in general. And I think, like, that's some of the stuff that we try to do is like, you know what I mean? It's just presenting it in a way of like, hey man, like I get how the sport was created and like, hey, it's supposed to mimic golf and do this, but like we can literally do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
And like, let's try some new things. Like we've seen the progression of like baseball and everyone's like trying to make that game faster and everyone's trying to do this and like, let's get ahead of it. And like, let's try to think of like some unique ways, possibly making it faster, possibly like showcasing stuff. And I think like, I'm sure DGPT is working on it. You know what I mean? I'm definitely working on it. But, and I think part of the way they're doing it is they're going to Europe.
Yeah.
That's where the future's at, obviously. And I think it was very smart of what they tied up over in Europe with their old DGPT Europe. I think that was genius. But I think also, in a way, like too much monopolization is also hurting us. We need a competitor. Like,
right.
And like, we need a competitor and we need more money. Like, you know what I mean? And that will create change and we get to pick and choose what we like and kind of move forward with it. I feel like I got really profound there.
No, man, that was actually really nice.
No, and it's
but like one of the coolest things, like man, I remember when we were at Texas State and we had a rain delay and they cut out those 3 holes. I don't know if you guys remember.
I do. Yeah.
It was final day. They cut out 3 holes. Man, I was there. I thought it was brilliant. It was faster. The action was more like, you know what I mean? It was there. Like it was like palpable of like, you've now condensed this faster and you've now made it this way. And like, I even told Jefferson, I'm like, I don't know why we don't do 15 hole courses or like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not that terrible.
Right.
Every course has that hole. Like, even last week, you had that, like, 100 and, like, under 200 foot, like, lock in. The one that...
Yeah, the ace hole.
Yeah, the ace hole.
Yeah. Like, that's damn near, like, a near lock birdie for everybody. You know what I mean? FPO and MPO. And it's like, do we need to see it? Sure, you could provide an ace run, but, like, you're also running through the motions on in the side of the circle putts.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, and I think that's a thing for like disc golf purists would probably definitely tend to have a problem with, you know, like they don't like the idea of anything like that. But I agree with you to an extent when you said that like it's disc golf, like we can do whatever the fuck we want. Absolutely. It's true, like it's not baseball, it's not golf. So like, you know, people kind of get tied up with like the unprofessionalism of it. I know that Brody's very vocal about that. Like when he's like, "What's this guy's wearing a fucking Darth Vader costume with an OB flag?" Like, you know, that kind of. But like, I don't know. It's not any other sport. It's its own thing. Like, why can't it be fun? Why can't it be quirky? And I don't know.
My challenge to Brody on all that would be like, man, pickleball looks stupid as fuck watching it. Like it literally looks just comically dumb to me. Yeah. Or like you got highlight, or like you got all these like weird, unique sports. Like it's more about like, are you going to keep their attention? And having somebody dressed up in Star Wars isn't going to like necessarily have somebody shut it off.
No.
Do I think it's like, man? Don't get me wrong, man. There's some weird disc golf fans. I'm not gonna lie. Like we all gotta kind of be a little weird to be this into plastic flying.
Yeah.
So like. And so yeah, there's some different types of disc golfers, and that's what kind of makes us unique. But I understand the optics. I can get a pass on that, but like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal, man. It really isn't. Like, and the fact that it's like those people are volunteers and they're out there. Like, man, one of my I feel bad. I don't want to put it. It's not putting on anybody's class. My favorite thing was always talking to like volunteers and like being like, hey. What'd you get? What was the deal? What was the package? Like, what do you guys? I mean, some of these dudes are out there with like just getting a T-shirt and like cheese sandwich lunches.
Yeah.
And like, if they want to like party with the fans, like, so be it. Like, I don't mind it. Like, but like, I think it's just the creative. Like, it's the creativeness of it, and like, I think like for DGPT, like. They could be, I think that's a whole other thing they could do into. Like, I think the marketing of the sport is a little off at this time. And, like, people don't know what to do. And, like, people don't know how to tell the stories. And people, like, and that's what we try to do is we're trying to tell the stories. And it's just wild. Like, you have, like, all these dudes, like, you have everybody just traveling in a van and the community that's there. And, like, all we get in our media is the watch me birdie this whole Instagram stuff and the DGPT, let's do whatever modern social media, like, video is. And, like, but no one's talking about Gavin Rathbun being unsponsored or, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Those are the stories that are like, dude, these people are like sick.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, they're just, it's just wild. And I think that's where it's lost. And I think they're trying to be, we're trying to get ahead of the horse. We're trying to be like, legitimize the game. And I think there's a need to get to that point, but like, nobody's watching. Let's get people to watch first, and then we can start legitimizing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's my idea. So
get them into
it. Let's think of ways to get them into them. Let's feature our shots better. Let's, like, I think fast-paced, speed stuff. Like, man, the wildest thing, we were on a tour for 2.5 months, and then we finally got to watch it on television first week back. Bro, I don't know how people do it sometimes.
It's a long day, dude.
Yeah, it's like a long
shift of work. Day.
Yeah, it is like, it's just wild. And it's like, here's the thing, I'm seeing more shots than I would be on the course. And like, there's a lot that you miss when you're on the course.
Yeah.
But like, that live is just not the way it's showcased, the way our sports videotape. There's so much that, like, we're so young and so infantile to, like, demand us doing something a certain way is just silly.
Silly, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't make sense. And like I'll never, like, man, at least the old days, it used to be like collared shirts and tucked in polos and like that used to be the thing. And now it seemed to have kind of gotten off of that into some other territory, but those people are always still there.
Well, the thing to me is, if you think about the people that they let sell their personalities, like Simon, right? Huge. Mm-hmm. Sells the fuck out of this.
Yes.
You know, even Eagle, you know, from his vlogs or whatever, you know, everybody knows his personality.
Sure.
But there's so many, I think, and you would know this way more than I would, but just a little bit I know, there's probably some really fucking good personalities out there that they could be, just crazy good if they just allow, like, I don't know how they could do it, but it just seems like the marketing from the DGPT could be better by marketing these personalities more than trying to market the professional side of it. I don't know.
You're right. No, there are some that don't want it.
Yeah.
Like, I will, there is some free spirits that prefer to kind of be the tight-knit group and like wary of people coming in, and not even on the interviews. But yeah, there's so many cool stories, so many stuff, like, just like, oh man, like, even like, I'll tell you a story. Like when we were at Persimmon Ridge, and of course it was an A-tier, no tour event, and what Luke Humphreys did for that stop was amazing. And he got a bunch of pros there, locked in Kristen Tatar, locked in Owen, and everybody was staying on the property.
Yeah.
Like, everybody was there. And at one point, it's literally like 9:30, 10 p.m., and we're sitting in this, like, utility shed that also became, like, GK's production tent.
Oh, wow.
And, like, they also had a ping pong table, and it's also where, like, all the players set up all the, like, they had the switches, they had, like, every fucking game system.
Yeah.
There's TVs there. So we're writing as people are playing ping pong, like an insane battle of ping pong. And like here we're typing, and like all I was thinking is like, and it comes down to like even the pros, like this is the stuff that people should see. Like this is what it should hold on to. Like the content of like being on a practice round and doing that is like cool, and there's a place for that. But like people want to see
the more personal
playing ping pong barefoot against Luke Humphreys. Like that, somebody should have set up a camera. Shame on us. But like, I just didn't feel like asking. You know what I mean? Like it was just. But it's like that's the stuff. It's like, man, like we don't need this stuff. Like showing that, watching like the young dudes 8 deep playing Mario Kart. was hilarious.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like that stuff is, and like that's how you tell stories. That's how you get personalities, right? Because they're in their moment.
Yeah.
And like I think when they're on the course, or they're here, or they're that, and like you guys know, like man, we get pros tell us stuff all the time of like weirdness, and like that's just some of the stuff. But yeah, James Conrad, wicked good at ping pong, and Luke Humphreys.
I believe it.
Yeah, James Conrad, Luke Humphreys, Marweed.
Solid ping pong players.
Yeah, solid.
No
Supposedly at Maple Hill they got like a ping pong table on top of the second floor of their shop.
Yeah.
And supposedly the games are supposed to be epic. Like I heard like local ping pong, it's like pool. Like local ping pong dudes are just coming to play with pros.
Really?
The most epic thing. Yeah. I heard KJ's really good, but I didn't get to see KJ either. Like I heard like Simon, like I just because we were chatting them up, and they like have a wicked like ping pong over the entire week that they're at Maple Hill.
That's funny. The actual ping pong professionals are like, you say you're the best in town. Come challenge them.
Suppose like that's what we heard, and like like Luke Humphreys might also be like the most athletic, and it doesn't look like it, but like the most athletically diverse disc golfer on tour.
Really?
Yeah, that dude can golf. He can like anything athletically I've seen. He just like randomly pulls out of his ass. And, like, just look, even the way he throws his disc. Like man, like I don't know if you guys have got a chance to like sit behind him on his drives.
Right.
It's so unlike all these other pros.
Yeah.
It's like, and it just goes, and it just keeps going. I'm like, how does it get there? Like everybody else, you're hearing snap, and you're hearing this, and then like Luke Humphreys just chill as fuck going up there and like balling.
Yeah.
Like, and it's sick. Like
he really does, and he has quite a swagger about him. Like when he walks, I've noticed that he's just very like he doesn't give two shits.
Yeah, he is a cool. He seems like a really cool fucking dude.
I wish he was my dad.
Yeah, like Luke Humphreys, the coolest, one of the coolest dudes like we interacted with too. He tours with two vans. He's got two minivans, and like man, and if you need somebody to get something done, Luke Humphreys is
he's on the case.
Yeah, man, like for whatever reason, like you got to realize, like man, it's kind of like the misfit toys some of these people are, like some of these pros, I should say, not even people. Like you're talking about like nomadic livers in life, and like you got oddball characters. And if somebody needs something done, like they're hard to lock in, but Luke Humphreys can lock in.
Yeah.
Like he just asks, and it's almost a done.
That's
like,
awesome.
It's wild. Like Luke is probably one of the coolest, like one of the most like impactful dudes. Like he invited us. We got to watch I forget their Jeopardy show. We were there, got to sit in the behind and watch it live, and it was just like the dude just gets stuff done. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just wild.
You could probably find some Molly from him if you need any. He probably knows where to get that.
I think, you might.
Maybe.
You might be. I haven't. Perusing the Molly train is not.
Sure.
I got a nephew. I gotta like.
Right. That does seem more like Jefferson's thing than it would be you. There's plenty of opportunity. I think like Brody made a hint of it like in a tweet the other day where like if you think this is gossip, we drug use and this, like obviously it's disc golf, man. If it's around, it's around. It's there.
It should be.
Yeah,
disc golf was born on the backs of all of that. Fuck anybody that wants to get it out.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
It was created when Steady Ed was playing golf stone. He was just high as shit, and he was like, we should do this with frisbees.
Yeah, man. Like, you know this.
I guarantee the drugs had something to do with the creation of disc golf.
Yes.
I don't think they should drug test anybody in any sport.
Yes. And disc golfers know how to party, man. Like,
I believe that, too.
Yes. Disc golfers, and there's certain stops, like, there's certain stops that, like, we've heard on tour, we've experienced on tour. You know what I mean? There are, like, specific stops that people know of and run into them. And Yeah, and rumored.
And it's a party.
And it's cool. And like the best part about like the disc golf like pros is like everybody's got their base and like whatever you're into. Like there's certain pros that we saw at Cracker Barrels nearly every week.
Yeah.
And there was other pros that we only saw them on the course.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And so, but everybody's got that niche. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of interesting to see the split of like pros too. But yeah, man, there's some weirdos too.
Oh yeah.
Watching Kat Merch use her whip like at Waco in our second stop. And then like another funny story, so like Waco, oh man.
he's backing up.
I might omit some names, but anyways, so we get to Waco and we go to the Beast, and immediately we're in the player parking lot, and a fan drives up and just starts yelling at us, starts going on us about clickbait, and just like I'm like, who is this? About your
YouTube video?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking crazy. It was a real life YouTube comment?
Yeah, like, you guys are the clickbait guys. And, like, just coming at us, razzing us. And then he's like, I'm going to play around with you guys. Like, invites himself to play around with us. And, like, it just turns out, like, the dude was just a shit talker. Like, like he was just a big shit talker. And he shit talked pros. He shit talked everybody.
Jeez.
And it was a cool thing to do. But we finished our round with them, and we're just chilling. We're talking out, hanging out, and my nephew just chats up another person, and then he's like, hey, I got a place for us to stay where other pros are staying on a property. And a gentleman named Rockin' John, who I never saw wear a shirt with sleeves, has this insane property in the middle of Texas, about 15 minutes away from the Beast, and he had 30 pros staying there.
Rockin'
tied into his electric. They're cooking dinners, like, just tied in.
Yeah.
And, like, here, this is probably we had our first tour, and this second one is, like, we were more well known. People knew us. And, like, it was kind of a weird feeling out process because, you know what I mean, people view us as media, or what are they going to share? What aren't they going to share? And it was just wild being there. And, like, our first night, Cat Merch is out there, like, 5 feet from our van, cracking a whip. And, like, I just didn't know how to process it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is wild.
Cat Merch is cracking a whip on Rockin' John's property.
Just with the drawl and everything. Like, yeah, like, just wild, dude. And then, like, so Jefferson, like, we're there. I think we're drinking. We had a few beers. I'm like, Jefferson, you got to try the fucking whip. Like,
yeah.
You got to, like, of course, I'm also trying to get Jefferson in. Like,
right.
You got to try the whip. Like, you know what I mean? Nico's not around at this.
Yeah.
Like,
give it a go.
And fucking Jefferson injures himself, hits himself in the hand with the whip. Like, first give him credit for it. The first whip hit was like professional level shit, man. Like dead ass. Like I was like,
that is Indiana Jones.
I was like, bro, like, and he should have quit there. He should have just fucking like, yep, drop the mic type of situation. Chose to continue, and he fucking caught his own hand, and then like he had to go to the bathroom, and fucking Cat Merch, I don't know if I ever told him this, Cat Merch is like, that fucker hit his hand. And then like, she's like, he'll bite you sometime.
God damn.
And then like the best part is like, but he manned up. No other man would jump on that whip. It's like, fuck, man.
God damn it, she sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, she's out there. And then like, one of it was also like 3 a.m. We're sleeping in the van, and like her cat jumped on the hood, like spooked the shit out of me. Like it was fun. But yeah, there are tons of pros. And then like the guy throws a party every Sunday night. Like Waco is usually like one of the highest. So every event has pros like score the tournament, right? Like they kind of say what they liked and didn't. And Waco's usually, as far as the pros stand out, is one of the higher rated by the pros.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Because also, like, man, I'm not going to try to talk about the Beast, but, like, the Beast, when I saw the Beast, for what it's, like, obviously you have a name of the beast and everyone talks about it as like the greatest disc golf. Like I walked in and I was like, man, this is small. Like, you know what I mean?
Really?
It was like one of the few courses where it's like smaller than it looks on television.
Okay.
Yeah, which is every other course is the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, you guys know with Nashville.
Yeah.
But like it appears smaller than the cameras do, especially in the woods. So it's kind of weird. But yeah, Rockin' John, sleeveless. Waco was probably Waco was probably one of the coolest stops. They had a putt league with a bunch of pros. We had drinks with Simon that night, Emerson, and then Simon also just dropped a baller line. Like the problem with Jefferson, like when Jefferson drinks, he kind of gets a little mouthy.
I would never guess.
And it's not even like he's trying to be mean. He's just trying to be like a smart ass.
Right.
And he just like randomly started talking to Simon about not liking the pixel. He's like, I just don't like the feel. It's like, of course, like we're razzing.
Simon's like, I didn't ask.
Yeah, I'm like, Simon's like, oh, you guys owe it a beer. I'm like, yeah, Simon, if you're buying with your contract, we're just razzing him the whole night.
Yeah.
And like, I remember like at one point he had like 2 beers in his hands, and it was just a quiet moment. And when you're with Simon, sometimes there's not quiet moments because everybody wants a piece of Simon.
Sure.
And he's standing there like all awkward, and I go up to him like, hey man, can I get an autograph? And he's just like, you dick. But anyways, Jefferson says like, I don't really like the pixel, and Simon just drops a bar, and he's like, well, sold 75 grand of them.
Oh.
I was like, fuck. As soon as he said it, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, damn, man, what a flex.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you like it or not, buddy. A lot of other people do.
So, but yeah, Waco's cool. Yeah, Waco's like definitely one of those spots like that I would probably recommend. MCO is now one of those. Yeah.
How was the after parties at MCO? Is it wild? Because I mean, I don't partake, and even if I would have went, I mean.
Yeah. So Nashville was a little different from us. We had a fan. We got put up by a fan about an hour away.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't. As far as what I heard, then we also had we had a business meeting, and so like we were kind of like tied up. So like, but I know usually whenever you're able to stay on the property, normally is probably at some point you're gonna have a blast.
Yeah.
Like preserve where they can like fish and they can like. That preserve is huge, and they like everybody stays on the campgrounds. Like, and so like preserve is one that I've heard, but it's also because everybody's there. You know what I mean? And like Waco, when you got 30 pros staying on a property the night before, getting put up by these people, like, you know what I mean? You kind of have to. It's respectful, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it was cool, but it was definitely Waco had probably the largest one of the largest parties. USDGC is also a big one, just because everybody's really tight and there's so many people there. MVP is
Maple Hill.
Yeah, Maple Hill. I think we may have partied a little bit harder than most of the people at Maple Hill. That was the one. That was like our one tour stop, like one of our stops where we're like, we're gonna be fans.
Right. And you just soaked it all in, got to enjoy
it. And like, but yeah, and then the pros, everyone has a unique way of partying, and it's a blast.
Yeah.
Like, at one of the parties, I got to see KJ
perform.
Yeah, man, that was sick.
But that was rad. I want to see him perform.
At Waco, KJ, he was on there he was out there for a little bit.
Was he DJ KJ or DJ KJ?
I don't know if he said a name, but yeah, man, KJ had a light show.
Yeah,
damn.
Yeah, man, it was fairly legit. See, he was out there.
KJ, I think, is doing it right. Also, as far as you talking about, like pros finding their own thing, making their voices heard. I think KJ's got his own thing going on right now, and I think his vibe is pretty rad.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be cool to see more of him.
Yeah, I think, man, and it's funny, like, I know he hasn't performed well, but the dude grinds, man. He's one of the dudes, like, that there's certain pros that, like, we see, like, all the time, and KJ is one of them.
Yeah.
Like, he's out there. Like, he comes to mind probably, like, up there in the top 10 of, like, who I see on the course the most, who's, like, practicing the most. Like, and it's just not, for some reason, it's not clicking.
Yeah.
And I think he's just got someone that's for him. But as far as a dude, like, nice dude, down to earth.
I believe it.
And, yeah.
And he also probably knows where to get Molly.
He might. Yeah.
He may.
Didn't he have the, like, bong in one of his cuts?
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. Everyone was like, what is that?
Yeah, it's tobacco.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the other funny story, like, Waco, like, man, it's also, like, dark, and, like, you have, like, locals, you have pros, and, like, here we're kind of walking in the middle, because, like, a lot of the locals know us, a lot of the pros are still warming up, and, like, I remember we actually talked to Luke, and I didn't even realize it was Luke, like, because it was dark. I think he just shaved, so I was like, who is this dude? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, like, I was like, fucking, like, 2 hours. I was like, damn, that was Luke right after his loss. I was like, oh, man. I was like, and it just, like, didn't click, like, until the next day when I woke up from, I was like, man, that was Luke Humphreys.
Yeah.
That sucks.
That was right when he threw it away with Burr, right?
Yeah, that was right after Burr.
Oh, no.
Absolutely. But yeah, like, so yeah, he was there for a little bit. But yeah, man, that Rockin' John's. It's an invite only.
Okay. You got to know somebody.
Yeah, but like, if you go to, like, dude, the man is like the man behind the scenes. He runs everything. Like, it was wild. Like, he would get a call. Like, I remember there was a beehive, and somebody had to go out at like 6 a.m. to take care of a beehive. Rockin' John knew about it. Not affiliated, right? Like, not affiliated with, not a TD,
right.
Not that. The dude just owns and runs Waco Disc Golf.
He cracked open a beer and handled
it. Absolutely. And, like, you can't be a pro without having, like, some tie, like, to Rockin' John. And, like, also Waco does it, like, it's insane what Waco does as far as, like, every pro is nearly put up somewhere in Waco. Like, whether it's Rockin' John's, like, it's one of, like, every pro has, like, is in a garage. Like, there's not many pros, like, sitting in a Cracker Barrel in Texas.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're usually on a fan's place.
I've always heard Texas is one of the best places for disc golf. For sure. I think that has the most courses, right?
It should. I mean, it's the most area. So.
A lot of space.
It is giant.
It's the size of the whole South fucking East. So.
Yeah, and the people are like I said, the communities are different, and like Texas people will put you up. Like, you go out east. No.
Yeah.
like they're not.
Yeah. Up north and shit. They're like, we're used to seeing people sleep outside. We don't give a fuck, dude.
We're glad. Yeah, we're glad to have you. But like out in Texas, like everywhere we could pretty much, if we wanted to. Sometimes it made more sense to be like, all right, this is closer.
Yeah.
But yeah, Austin was cool. Definitely met some homies in Austin. Met a cameraman, and like we met some cool people. But yeah, Texas was. I was surprised because, man, I'll be honest, I was not excited about the Texas swing whatsoever.
Right.
Like I was like, man, we're gonna spend a month here. Like, I can officially say I've lived a month in Texas, and like I was not thrilled whatsoever. And like the people were cool. The only dud that, like, I think Texas States was a little bit of a dud, but it's also the last one, so like you're kind of ready to get out of there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, and it's just, I think that. And the course is just smaller, so like I think that was kind of the, like, people are just ready to get going.
That's a long Texas stint right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like as a fan, it seemed like God damn, are they with Texas still? You know?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, absolutely. And like, don't get me wrong, man. Like, fuck. the best salsa I ever had. I was eating like breakfast burritos nearly every day.
Hell yeah.
Like, the food is great in Texas.
Sure, shooting guns in the morning.
Yeah, oh yeah. If you wanted, we got offered.
Right.
For sure. Like,
of course, when in Texas.
We got offered to go on like a hog hunt, and I'm like, nah, man, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
Like, hey, you want to get on some horses and go down the border and try to catch people?
I'm actually here to film disc golf.
I'm way too. I'm way too above the Mason-Dixon line. Like, man, it's funny because, like, Adam Hammis, right? He's in Wisconsin. He's right above it. But where we're at, nah, man, I'm cool.
Yeah.
So, that's funny. But, man, Texas was cool. Got around with Bergner, too. That was, like...
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's our boy.
Yeah, that's our boy.
Yeah, it was a good time. And then, like, that was the only time we got a ticket, was in Texas.
Oh, really? The only time you had a traffic violation?
Ah, man, it was such bullshit, too. Such bullshit. We had 2 run-ins with the police on this last trip. First one, we're in Mississippi, at like 11:30 at night. And it's like on one of those roads that's so dark, you got nothing, right? Nothing around. And all of a sudden, we come to a 4-way stop, and there's 8 cops at this 4 stop. I hadn't seen a car in like an hour and a half. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And like, all I was worried about, like, in all honesty, was they wanted to do like a search, right? Like, this is kind of like, in our area, you know what I mean? They're breathalyzing you. They can ask to search.
Yeah.
Like, a traffic stop. And, like, the reason I don't want to, man, we live in this fucking thing.
Yeah.
If the cops were to search this, it's like I was fully prepared to fight. And, like, the cop just goes, like, you from around here? And I'm like, no. Like, the license plate says Wisconsin, guy. Like, and he's like, just go. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, there's 8 of you. And then Texas, man, speed trap. It's such horse shit.
Oh, yeah.
Such horse shit. Like, literally went from 70 miles, hit a town on the same highway that turns into a town, and it dropped to like 45. And as soon as I pass a car and the lights turn on, I tell my nephew, I'm like, we're getting a fucking place.
Some shithole little town.
Yeah, dude.
It's the only way they make money.
Stops, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was like, fuck it, yeah. That was the only 2 run-ins we had. And it was like, such a bummer.
I was going to ask you. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No. That was the only stop that, like, that city got, like, $300 out of us.
Damn.
There's a few of those towns around here where it goes from, like, 55 to 35, and they sit there and just fucking wait, man.
Oh, bro. And then, man, the dude, like, did it with a smile and tried to give us, like, directions and stuff. I was like, bro, you just literally fucking, like, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, just leave me alone now.
Yeah, like, let me process this shit.
Any close calls?
Any what?
Like, close calls? As far as maybe, I don't know, wrecks or almost injured?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Nothing.
That's awesome.
Shitting the pants?
Almost shitting your pants. That's a close call.
Almost, yeah. That I did.
Sure.
Yeah. Boston, I had to go to the same 24-hour bathroom 4 times. Past the same fucking employee, not buy a damn thing.
No.
And just blow up a fucking toilet. Like, all night. Like, and, like, just looking at that person in the eye is just fairly tough at times. Like, you can also, like, funny thing is, I could probably walk into a Cracker Barrel, and this is how difficult this is. I could probably walk into a Cracker Barrel with my eyes closed and get to the men's bathroom.
Yeah.
Nearly every fucking...
You know all Cracker Barrels.
They are all situated the same. I got it locked in.
For sure.
So, but no close calls, luckily, on that front. Definitely some, like, asshattery, stupid, like, miss this exit, do this, weird highways. Texas highways are a complete fucking ass. Especially in the cities, like especially Austin. Like they have weird, like they don't have exit ramps. They have like almost 2 highways next to each other. And if you want to like go off And like the one on the right allows you to U-turn at certain points. It also allows you to turn left. So like there's literally lanes to U-turn and then a turn lane to turn left on the same street. And it's just, it's fucking terrible. And then Boston, anything around Massachusetts is like, that's just so old. Like you look at the map and it's like, 10 miles or 5 miles. It'll take you 45 minutes to get it everywhere. And you can literally see it on the map. Like, it's right fucking there.
Yeah.
And, like, you got to go every which way to get there. Those are probably, like, the two worst, like, traffic experiences.
Boston and Texas.
Anything like, Boston and Texas. But, like, there's other times, man, there's so much, especially, like, Pennsylvania. There's so much where you're just driving and stuff where there's nothing.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just... It's beautiful, like it's scenic, and like, but you drive for an hour and then you hit a town, and then you drive for an hour. Like I remember going through Pennsylvania, and like you'd literally drive through a town and it was one stop, and you had all the houses, the post office, all in downtown, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then like you'd go through it, and then like. I
don't even know if that town was real.
Yeah, no, it's exactly.
Is that a dream?
Like, part of you thinks it's abandoned. Like,
right.
And like, I'm like, man, is this real? Like, but yeah, Pennsylvania is like, there's some isolated spots. Like Kentucky was pretty isolated.
Oh yeah. Have you ever? Be honest.
Sure.
Do you guys piss in that van, in a bottle?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I feel like I would, dude. I have such a little baby bladder. I feel like I'd be like, look, man, I can't have you stopping every 30 minutes.
Usually...
I have to bring a jug.
No. And man, if Jefferson might have, and I just may not have known it. There's times where I go to bed before Jefferson. So, like,
right.
Who knows what's going on.
He could be up all sorts of pissery in there.
Yeah. But no. Yeah, we just pull over.
Good call.
This
respectable.
We know. We've already heard that y'all, enjoy some cold beers, and I'm assuming when you're on the road, your diet's probably not the best.
No.
So I'm thinking that van probably is rancid. What's the best air freshener that you found? What's the best car air fresheners you found?
The sad part is we do not air freshen.
Oh no,
I like it. Bask in it, dude.
Yeah, just marinate.
We just fucking cook it.
Yeah, dude. You're like, roll the fucking windows up. What are you doing?
Yeah, it becomes part of it. No, there are certain rules. Like, obviously, like there's no such thing as leftovers. Like, really.
Good call.
We have a fridge, but like it will still perforate.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
There's almost no food, and if you are like, we'll eat in the van and stuff, but like it's really not like there's no leaving leftovers. So like what you get, like you kind of know. And the good thing is like we're so busy that like on the road that like man we almost like you'd be shocked at like. We eat it in the morning and then we're not eating until like 8 p.m. You know what I mean? Like just because like
you get carried away and
you're just working on stuff, right? Like you know what I mean? And like as long as we're grinding, but some of the we definitely made some stops to like definitely have to hit up. But yeah, a lot of gas station pizzas, random stops. Like I don't eat meat, so like my options.
Well, you don't eat meat.
No, I don't eat meat.
Damn.
So, like, I don't, like, even my options are more limited at times.
Yeah.
So, but, like, there's other stops, like, man, our best, like, you got to go Mexican food when you're on the road, because at least you get chips and salsa for free.
Yeah.
So, like, that helps with the expenses.
There you go.
So, like, you cut the corners.
For sure. No.
So, hey, best place we went to, man, I feel like I'm, like, talking about how great Texas is. Best spot, like, one of the best foods that we ever ate on tour. We're looking for somewhere to eat, and we hit up, like, I see a restaurant that's in a way, and all the restaurant is called is Asian food.
And this is one of the best places.
Yeah. And it was Mexican.
That was the title of the restaurant. And so we go into, and it's like one of those food truck parking lots. I don't know if you guys have like ever seen them.
Yeah.
But like this one was like definitely in the hood, and there was like 40 food trucks, and it was by far some of the best Asian food at the Asian food restaurant.
Asian food
that I might have had, and it was just a random food truck, and like that's the joys also about tour. Like we talked about, like I talked to it with Jefferson. Like is this food really that good, or is it just a moment that I need it?
Yes.
It's that good. And like for whatever reason, Asian food hits. So if you guys are in the area, Asian food restaurant. I think that was in Austin.
No
Austin
shit.
or Waco, yeah.
It just sounds so unbelievable to be like one of the best Asian cuisine places.
Yes, absolutely.
Fucking China buffet. Like, it's called China buffet.
China
I'm telling you, dude.
7.
Yeah. But I'm telling you guys.
Yeah, it hit. It hit. But yeah, the nephew's the big fan of Asian food, so like buffets.
Yeah.
We've hit those all over.
Gas stations.
Sure.
Are you married to one particular gas station that you're like, this gas station's the one? Like, are you a Buc-ee's guy? You guys stopping at Buc-ee's?
We have stopped at Buc-ee's.
Oh,
Buc-ee's is a little overwhelming. I'm gonna be real.
That's what I said.
HEB grocery store is far better than Buc-ee's.
HTB?
HEB. Oh. It's only a Texas and Mexican grocery store.
Okay.
And better than Buc-ee's. They make like their own knockoff brand.
Yeah.
That are like $2-3 cheaper, and they're just as good.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, like so, like
suck that, Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's didn't do much for us.
They got Badger nuggets.
Yeah, we gotta stop, right? Like we gotta fucking best bathrooms. I'll say.
Oh yeah,
gas stations, so.
For sure.
Quick Trip is. It depends what you're doing, right? Like if it's just gas, we're probably just trying to find the cheapest, like random.
Right.
Like. But if you're looking for food, Quick Trips are pretty good. If you can get to a Wawa,
Never been to a Wawa.
Yeah,
that's a northeastern thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Wawas are pretty fucking great.
Yeah.
It's also weird, like when you're in Jersey and they have to pump your gas. That's really weird.
Sure, yeah, I've heard that.
But yeah, Wawa's up there. Quick Trips. Casey's be taxing.
Casey's, yeah.
Yeah, man, those dudes are like getting a little crazy with their prices.
Oh yeah,
we got those coming around here now.
We're
I gotcha.
Southeastern thing, I'm pretty sure, but Weigel's.
Nah,
I think we're right. That we're only here.
Yeah, that may only be in about 3 towns in Tennessee. So.
Yeah.
I will say, like the favorite fast food chain, like on the road fast food chain. Cookout. Have you ever been to
Cookout?
Yeah, dude. It's the best.
It's so reasonable. It's good.
Bro. Like, Cookouts are another level.
Yeah, dude.
Man.
That menu's a little overwhelming.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
But it's
Funny
great.
story, fucking... I think we were a little drunk one night, and we got, like, we went to go get a shake, and they have, like, 45 different shakes or something crazy fucking...
I'll take all of them.
Yeah, and we're just like, hey... You pick the shake. And those fuckers, like, I kind of respect the level of fucking asshattery they did. They both gave us a vanilla shake.
Wow. Vanilla.
I was like, man, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Here's another kooky flavor for you.
Yeah, like, straight vanilla. But yeah, Cookout's sick, cheap, like, hits the spot. I was a big fan of Cookouts. And, like, Texas also has, like, every version... Like, they have their own knockoff of, like, Taco Bell, their own knockoff. Like, they have...
Del Taco.
Like, yeah, when Texas talks about, like, separating from the U.S., they really can. Like, as far as, like, fast food options, they can.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
They've got it handled down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone owns a gun and a snake. Down in Texas.
The fucking ants are the worst in Texas.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. I got fire bit, fire ants.
Suck.
I got bit on 2 separate occasions.
That shit suck.
Terrible.
Yeah, it hurts like fuck. It blisters. I mean, it fucking sucks.
Yeah,
we have them here now. Like in the last 5 years, we've got fire ants here. Yeah.
Oh, bro, like
it sucks.
Yeah, like it's like fucking Star Troopers over there in Texas, bro. Like they own everything that's not paved is owned by like ants that will fuck with you at any bit of it. Like,
property of ants.
Yeah, dude, it is like, and like the worst part is like because we film, right? We're filming, and like if you stand in an anthill, there's times where you're not gonna know until it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. Yeah,
like,
sure.
And like fire ants, Texas is just brutal. But I'll take ants over mosquitoes all day.
Yeah. Yeah, you can avoid ants. Mosquitoes, they'll fucking find you.
Oh, they'll torch you up. Yeah. For sure.
Any disagreements that you and Jefferson have that you will fight tooth and nail? That you guys just can't... Really? You guys are pretty chill?
Dude.
Oh, that's great.
It's wild. Like, I wish I was lying. I really do, because it'd be better content.
Yeah, I think he's mentioned that last time.
Yeah, he's like, literally, we have a process. Like, he's not the morning person, and I am. So, like, I'm getting up, I'm running, driving to the stops, doing that, like, and so we have a process, and we kind of just made it work. And, like, we very, like, even on, like, videos, we very rarely, like, we talk through stuff and ideas, and, like, yeah, we very rarely
have disagreements. And
yeah, man, it's cool.
Yeah.
My little brother's another story, but
you mean Disc Golf Jesus?
Yeah, Disc Golf Jesus. He's doing his thing, but like, it's more just like creative differences. That's
sure.
All. Like, you know what I mean?
But I will say, I love that he's on the disc golf world. Like, his little clips, I watch every fucking one of them all the way through. And for whatever, and it's like low quality and silly as fuck. He's goofy as shit, and I've watched it and I enjoy it. I'm like, I like how this is so much different than their other stuff. I really do. I'm like, this is kind of a palate cleanser to an extent. And I'm like, I kind of dig it.
I love when people ask us, like, is Disc Golf Jesus ever going to tour with you? And I'm like, man, Disc Golf Jesus has a child.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he would. And Disc Golf Jesus does not like pro that much. So.
He doesn't like what?
Pro disc golf.
He doesn't care too much more.
Yeah, he just loves.
The guy that doesn't wear shoes doesn't really follow the DGPT. Yeah, I believe it.
Man, when he goes to Ledgestone though, bro, like he is. Everybody's like, you Disc Golf Jesus?
Oh wow.
He walks barefoot. Yeah, man, he owns it.
And he feels
like, Disc Golf Jesus. Maybe this year might turn the tables. Mm-hmm. Disc Golf Jesus got more recognized than probably Jefferson had.
That's fucking great.
And it makes sense, dude. He's like throwing local courses, and like everybody loves. I don't know why more people like just don't do that themselves.
Sure.
Like, and just build like a local base.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool.
I love his video.
I know he's got us greeting each other every once in a while with salutations.
Salutations. Back in our podcast day, like, man, you want to talk, like, back in our old podcast days, we usually, like, alternated intros. And, like, Disc Golf Jesus is the reason Swiss Cheese's name is in existence, in all honesty.
Wow.
That was all Disc Golf Jesus in a podcast rant. Where, like, we just rip on each other and introduce each other. And, like, I had like, a flesh-eating bacteria in my leg.
Oh, God.
That, like, of course, I was, like, a man and stupid and, like, never got it, like, taken care of. Until, like, it started, like, the blister popped and it was, like, pussing for, like, 40 minutes straight. And I was like, oh, no, we better go to the doctor. This ain't normal. And they had to, like, cut out a section of the leg. So I actually had, like, a wound vac, and, like, I had a literal hole in my leg.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from.
That's why they call you whole leg.
Yeah, Swiss cheese for all the holes in his game, and
that's pretty quick though. I like
that. My leg. So and it's stuck ever since.
That's awesome. Thank you, Disc Golf Jesus.
Yeah, that was all Disc Golf Jesus. So I gotta give him royalties.
Yeah. Any tips for us or the listeners when going to a DGPT event?
Oh, for sure.
Tips or tricks?
I love this stuff. Absolutely.
There we go.
What do you want? Do you want, like, the secrets in and out? Or do you want... first of which, I would tell everybody this. Hit up every pro and ask if you can caddy.
Okay.
First and foremost.
Just for the experience.
Not only that, but it gets you in for free.
Oh.
So, especially if they give you the caddy bib and everything along those lines. So, I would recommend that first and foremost. And I would recommend also, if anybody is considering it, it's a must. You guys have been there. We saw you on the course. It's a must. Like, once you're there, it is so much better than anything that you see on coverage. Post, live, it doesn't matter.
Yep, can confirm.
Awe-inspiring. The holes are even crazier. The gaps are crazier. Everything about it is just insane.
When I left, I told Gibbs, I was like, man, I feel like emotional right now after. Didn't I remember when we were in the car? I was like, I don't know, man. That felt like such a big deal that we went and did that. I had such a good weekend.
Yeah, it's cool. And like just seeing like every bit about it, and just seeing like how close the gameplay is, how close to the pros level are, like, because there's not much separating except consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm seeing that. But yeah, so first thing, try to get a caddy. Hit up everybody. Like, a lot of pros will often, like, hit comments saying they're looking for somebody. Try to hit up pros. Try to see if you can be a caddy. Usually gets you in for free. So that's my first thing.
Good little trick.
Second thing, other trick. If you're gonna if you're gonna be there all day, like FPO and MPO, do not buy VIP passes. Simply buy general admission, cover FPO, and find a spot where you're not allowed to be. Like the VIP areas, you find a spot and sit there, and then you'll be able to follow along after that. And every spot, you'll hear me say this nearly every spot if I'm talking to you on the course. I think a lot of the fans got to realize, and it's happened on a few stops, like, you outnumber these volunteers. And, like, there's a level of, like, if we collectively push, we will get what we want.
yeah.
Like, you know what
it's a numbers thing. Yeah, like, they can't stop all
like,
of us kind of thing.
Yeah, so, like, if we collectively, like, uniformly do this, and, like, it's happened to a level.
Yeah.
But, like, there's a certain understanding of that. But yeah, that would be my two tips. But if you're only going to be there, if you're only there for MPO and you're going for a specific card, knuckle up, get the VIP. If it's only for one day, get the VIP. Follow who you want and everything along those lines, and just enjoy it. Like, try to get behind the cards, try to see what you can, and no matter what, you can appreciate everything along those lines.
Yeah.
And then, like, the other helpful hints I would say, like, man, I've always thought about doing a video. Like, you remember the old fucking Goofy style videos of, like, how to learn a sport?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I've
thought about doing, like, what not to do at a disc golf event.
Oh, that would be good for your channel, for sure.
Yeah, like, where you, like, kind of do. So a couple of things, like, if you're going to bring a significant other, like, it is your duty, it is your job to inform that person, whoever you're bringing, what they're in store for.
Yes.
Like, MCO, bro, is like a hike.
Yeah.
And if you're there, FPO, MPO, you are talking miles. And it's too often where I see a girlfriend or a wife not wearing the right shoes, not knowing what they're in for, and they're there at 10 a.m. And I'm like, you are going to be in for a world of hurt. Like, you just don't understand what you signed up for.
Yeah.
Also know the food options are not going to be great at all times.
Sure.
Sometimes they're hit or miss. And, like, pack whatever you can, be prepared. Those are some of my tips. But yeah, definitely get out there, man. Yeah. It's like,
I think what a lot of people kind of may not understand when going to these events is how much, like you said, it is a hike. Like, it's work.
Bro. Yeah.
Like, it's gonna, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, man, that's the funny thing is, like, Jefferson and I joke because a lot of times, like I said, I'm the morning person. He's usually editing the videos in the morning. And then I'm getting shots. Mm-hmm. So I am out there the entire day. Jefferson will come out like more FPO.
Yeah.
Now, I would much rather be walking around than sitting in a hot minivan editing a video. Like,
sure.
And let alone it's not my skill set. But yeah, man, like I always tell myself I'm gonna have like one of those foot counters, and I just never do it. Like the amount of miles logged in on some of these tracks are just.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, yeah, even MCO. Like, I'm like, man, I'm skipping these holes. and there's times where it's like, I'll follow lead card on the final day, and I'm like, I've never seen this part of the course yet.
Yeah.
Like, just because it's easy. If we're trying to get the most shots, it's easier to like find a loop. Every course will have like a loop where you can get a bunch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it just doesn't work. That loop. But, like, yeah, a lot of people don't understand, like, how much, like, just walking all day outside.
Yeah.
Like, liquids you need. Like,
when I saw you, I was like, look how tan he is.
Oh,
like, these motherfuckers stay outside. They're so tan.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, it's wild. You should see my feet, man. It's like I will always have a pair of socks on because of my tan line.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Mine's pretty strong as well.
Nice, yeah.
That's...
Jonesboro, Arkansas did that to us, for sure.
Saturday and Sunday at MCO, now we're talking from the parking lot, which was a little over or right at a mile to the course, I believe is what it clocked. But Saturday and Sunday, I did almost 19 miles.
Yeah.
In 2 days.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah. Oh man, I was pissed that I think on the final day I had to park where you guys park. Usually we get into the media parking. Not to brag.
Yeah, that was a trip.
Yeah, big dick over here. Yeah. As you should, though. I mean.
Yeah. Man, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Let's get real on that. Let's fucking be honest.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys knowing who we are, what we are. I think a lot of more people kind of need to know that, especially these guys running tournaments at times. Like, make us welcome. I'm not saying we don't need the red carpet rolled out. Just acknowledge us at times. It's just wild to me. Where it's we joked around to Springs. Right, the last tournament we left, we joked around with Springs, and it was I think it was at MCU. And he asked us if we're going to go to Portland Open because he was the TD. And I was like, fly us out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm I will be out there. You know what I mean? So there's different spots had it. And, some people recognize it. And, I think it's just, part of it is also the way the content has come in disc golf.
Mm-hmm.
When we got into this program with the DGPT, I don't even think they really knew what they were getting themselves in store with our content. I think they were just expecting us to vlog that we were there and be happy.
And that the DGPT is awesome and
yeah, I think they just kind of thought it was going to be oh yeah, let's show how great of a time this is, and so they were kind of shocked when we do it. But say what you will, you you said, man, we're going to give you everything that happened at your event.
Absolutely.
15 minutes. And if you give us more access, we're going to even do more for you.
Yeah.
Like we did with chess.com with Nick, and we did it with Deeper at Waco. We want to tell these stories, and we at times we need help getting there.
Yeah.
And at times we need help just being available.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
they need to too. They definitely need to look more into that, because you guys are the leading in this, in disc golf news as far as content goes, right? I mean, are you not in disc golf news anyway?
Yeah, I don't want to toot our own horn, but yeah, as far as if you look at views and everything out there, we're probably up there with the biggest in disc golf.
I've talked about
views.
Yeah, I've talked about interviewing Jefferson stuff with my friends. Everyone I talk to knows what the disc golf world is.
Uh-huh.
So recognition, I agree with that. Recognition would be nice. I mean, the DGPT's letting you or the DGN's letting you use the use their footage and stuff a lot of times, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
Recognition
that was also
necessary.
And and granted, man, and I don't want to you go to a tournament, you're gonna kind of realize. I think a lot of people have a mystification, that was a weird word. Slurred.
Mystification.
Mystification. I think people just don't Granted, if the ones that are sitting at home that can't get to a tournament or just unable to get there, there's a certain level of the belief that this is a professional, established league NFLs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
When in actuality, it's not. It's people everyone's discovering every bit of this in real live moments. And I think there's people that get down with what we do. I think there's people that really respect what we do. I think there's others that may not dig what we do, but it helps them either way.
Yeah.
So but yeah, man, I just wish certain stops, Preserve, we got people that will hit us up. We got you know what I mean? We got people from courses hitting us up to try to go there. That stuff, that's huge. But as far as you think TDs, stuff like that, man, get some of these Bodanza, right? Bodanza should be at nearly every DGPT qualifying event, and DGPT should be paying for it.
Yeah, because he's such a big influencer.
Exactly. I'll say it, right? It's going to promote your stops.
Yeah.
And it's going to do that. And I think, but that's the other funny thing is yes, it's weird. And I think part of our problem as far as what we do is not enough people put our face to it. You know what I mean? It's just or there's the weird separation of they're news, not content.
And right.
And every other sports avenue, what we're doing is considered content.
Yeah.
And it's just bridging. But again, dude, live has been 3 years. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't, like, none of this is brand new. Like, and so that's part of it. But yeah, it does get a little frustrating. I'll be real, like, and especially the kid, man. The kid gets far more, like, the kid just gets
tore up, huh?
Yeah, especially at home. Like, he's getting antsy, and then, like, it's like, hey, what the heck? Why is not this? Why not that? And it's like, you have, like, and man, we've had, like, so many of, like, meetings and talks, and, like, oh, yeah, we'd love to do something. And then, like, something happens. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just, like, just gets a little frustrating. And that's when I talk, like, but yeah, disc golf's so set in its ways at times also that it's hindering us.
Yeah.
And that goes to our coverage. Like, I think the way we cover our sport is not the greatest. Like,
the sport where a bunch of potheads throw frisbees in the woods is a little wishy-washy, huh? They're like, jerking you around a little bit, aren't
they? Like, I just don't, like, all of it is just, like, I think, man, for me, obviously with our content, it's, like, faster pace, get it to them.
Yeah.
Show as much as possible, right? Like, I want to see as much as possible, and I don't need to, like, watch guys warming up or, like, measuring a shot, unless it's a crucial moment. Like, day one should just be like, bang, 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 here's a shot, you know what I mean? Like, and just rattle them off. Like, and then, like, I think we also, like, don't do a proper way of, like, explaining what people are seeing. Like, as far as, like, you see the gap, but you don't know how big it is.
Oh, right.
Right? Like, it's basic stuff like that. Like, man, when I went to USDGC and I saw that triple Mando is fucking huge on camera.
Yeah.
Like, on camera, like, I'm not good. I have holes in my games, and I'm like, I should be able to hit that on camera. Or at least get to the, like, gap.
Yeah.
But it's the size of our minivan.
Like,
But nobody says that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, everyone's just like, yeah, here's a wood triple Mando, and, like, throw between it. And it's like, oh, that's a great shot.
Yeah,
it's not like,
I do think I agree with you. I think there's also a disconnect with, like, the commentators when they always try to, like, think of storylines, and maybe they don't necessarily focus on the right ones either sometimes.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'll call that out where I'm watching something like, how are they not talking about this dude over here? Like, what the fuck? Like, you got to be on top of that, you know, to really bring people in, get them absorbed into what they're watching, right?
Yeah, and I think that's where, I think we're going to get much more. That's the stuff that, man, where the stuff that I'm excited for disc golf is, like, we're still growing. And again, like, part of the way we're growing is you have to look at yourself in the mirror. And that's what I hope disc golf world can do at times. Like, this is what people are saying. This is what people are looking. Let me hold this mirror up and go fix it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but it becomes a money thing. It becomes, you know what I mean? It's so subjective. And I think it's just, it's just different. And, like, I hate having everything behind a paywall. I truly do. And I think it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't blame them. Like, looking at it as an economic standpoint, like, if it was me, like, if I'm trying to make money like it, like, I tell Jefferson all this, I'd be like, if I was DGPT next year, Joe Mez, you could pay for a basic Joe Mez package, you get it next day.
God, dude, if Joe Mez did it,
and if you don't, then you're waiting a week and a half for it to be released free.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the next step.
Sure.
I really do. Like,
that's probably a good call, because I didn't even think about that, them being owned by DGPT and
that they could make that their basic level. And like I said, if you still want to watch it for free, I'm going to make you wait a week.
Yeah.
Like, like, in all honesty, like, but I think, like I said, there's not enough competition, and that's what the sport really needs. And obviously it needs money, but, like, let's be real, like, too much of the sport's money is coming from fingers of the sports, like, you know what I mean, like, from sponsors and this, and, like, in this, like, we're and where's that money coming? It's coming from the fans.
Yeah.
So now we're going to charge them again. And it's like, we got to get more money in from somewhere. We got to get in new field, like, and it's just got to come, like, in order for this sport to get to the next level.
For sure. I always wonder, like, if it's going to make it to that level, because people love the sport when they play, like, they get into disc golf. You know, there's a lot of people that actually love the sport, but, like, I think it's such a turnoff to so many people just on sight. Like, when they see it, they're like, that's too silly for me. And they don't even give it a shot. So I think it's always dismissed as a sport because of it's literally throwing frisbees at the thing. Even though, like, it takes athleticism but I wonder if it'll ever get to the point where it can be like, I mean, not baseball, obviously. It'll never be that big.
No,
but like,
no. It won't, but 60-footer putts on camera to a normal dude looks like a 25-footer to us. It will never try. How many videos have we seen where the comments is like, I could do that?
Yeah. Right,
like, you know what I mean? Like, but that's just the way that's how we're presenting the sport. We're presenting it at the same angles, from behind the shot, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and that's what's cool about Jomez is, like, you measure it out. Like, hey, here's a ruler to how long this is.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't even fucking be on SportsCenter without them dropping a joke.
No, sure.
Like,
it's fucking annoying.
Like, and it's fine. Like, you know, I understand it. Like, that's where we are, but it's cool. It's just, like, how we get past it. Like, how do we get more recognized? Like, what do we do? And I think changing or having more people help change. Like, and that's the other problem with disc golf. I think there's not enough people doing it, like what you guys are doing. Here, you guys provide a different perspective. We provide a different perspective. There's not enough of us.
Right.
There's not enough, like, people making content and getting it out there. And, like, even the cringiest of content will help somebody play this game.
Yeah.
And, like, I think there's so many ways of presenting it, and also being creative in how you do it. Like, it's just, man, I'm tired. Like, I'm just tired. That's the most exhausting of being at home and not in tour and watching this coverage is it's just too similar.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's not much separation from day in to day in.
I understand.
And it's just, so, and if I'm seeing that and I love the game and you guys see it and you love the game, what's somebody who's just watching it?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That's the problem. That's what the sports face.
Yeah.
So, but, like, I think they do need to engage. I would love to see some more money, and they have it. Like, didn't they have just North Face, I think, sponsor something?
Columbia.
Or, like, Oh, Columbia, that's right. Yeah. Like, that's that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I see that and I'm like, oh man, that's fucking so great. That, like, we need more of that.
It fits too.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. And it's not disc golf. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like, get into this. Like, I don't know how you have so many disc golfers wearing those barefoot shoes, those Vivo shoes.
Yeah.
And they don't have a commercial on disc golf.
Yeah. No shit. Yeah.
Like the stuff like that. Like, how do you not make calls? Like how do you not? And, like, even on the pro side, like, I forget what company dropped, but somebody dropped and said, I think it was, what was it? Was it LL Bean or Barbasol, where they dropped at one point only to do one thing and they were doing more across? If I was a pro, those people have budgets. Like, those companies have budgets to do this. If I was a pro, I'd be like, hey, how do I get that money? What do you need from me?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, little stuff like that. And, like, that's another thing. Like, we also got to, like, these contracts are fucking nuts, bro. Some of them are, like, what they restrict. Like, every pro should be willing to have sponsorships presented. And I think some of these contracts prevent a lot of stuff. Like, man, if I'm a pro, I want to be like NASCAR. I don't give a shit.
Show it.
Like,
Show it off.
I want everything plastered on me. I want money from everybody. Like, these pros can't make a living out there.
Yeah.
Like, the bulk of them. And, like, these contracts, I think, especially in the high levels, especially the real big ones, they're not allowing any of that.
Right.
Like,
and there's only like 5 of them.
Yeah. Right? Like, and that's what's wild. Like, it's just like, man, and there's nothing, I'll say this, man, there's nothing more depressing than, like, fuck, man, I'm not going to say who, but, like, seeing a pro, like, especially, like, a young pro, talking to other pros about just not being able to do it. Like the prize pools aren't enough to be able to do this. And, like, just the realization of, like,
he's got to get a real job.
Yeah, like, and here's a kid that, like, I want to do this. This is my dream. And they're on tour and they can't cut it because the prize pools aren't enough, or it's not divided in a way, and then sponsorships aren't helping, and it's like, it's fucking gross. It's really like upsetting, and like, and it's just too much. We're too much in our ways. The sponsors are too much in their ways.
Yeah.
All of it, and they've had too much control for too long. And I think the players got to get like, find it, go get it, not sign these contracts, fight on these contracts.
Hell yeah.
And go get that. You can go get money.
Go get the bag.
Do it. Man, when you got tour pros like buying discs that are released for like special tournament release discs just to flip. Like, that shouldn't be fucking happening in the sport as a professional athlete.
It shouldn't be, like, grinding like that, you know?
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? And, like, and man, the other upsetting part, like, the West Coast swing was fucking great. Like, you can't, like, the last 3 tournaments have been awesome. Spectators have been great. Well run. No issues. Absolute sick run. But a lot of pros can't make that trip.
Yeah.
Like, because... feasibly.
Yeah, they can't do it financially. For sure.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, and that's gross. And like, so like, here's the thing. Like, after this run, I'm like, man, there needs to be a major out there. I'm glad Champions Cup's out there. Say what you will about the course. Like, you can't have fans turn out like that and not reward it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't, like, you have to do it. And that's why Waco got a plus event, just because you know what I mean? They've done it. And, like, so you have to reward it. And, like, if they're showing up, you got to give it to them. And it's, at some point, like, that's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
Like, and I think a lot of it's going to be more interesting on this. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what's in store for disc golf, you know. It's fun.
It's scary, though, right?
It is scary. It is scary, but...
A lot more people need to be talking about how scary it is right now.
Right.
I think it is like, it's weirdly, especially on the tour, man, it was the weirdly unsaid. Like, it was so, like, yeah, like, you'd hear, like, oh, ticket sales are down.
Yeah.
Like, we'd hear, like, little hints of this. And, like I remember, like, I'd ask Earhart, I'm like, hey, man, like, Jonesboro, like.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, is it always like this? Is, like, this is what you guys call Party Hill? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's scary, and like, it's up to, and like, man, and we're too busy fighting each other.
Right, yeah.
In all honesty, like, we're too busy.
Meanwhile, sales are down, attendance is down.
Yeah, and like, yeah, and it's gonna catch up. Like, Europe is gonna be, I think Europe is gonna be what takes this sport to the next level.
Oh, that's awesome.
I really do.
I hope it is.
Yeah, and I think it's cool to get behind. And, like, man, you want to talk about, like, I told Jefferson, Worlds in Europe is, like, my biggest disc golf goal right now.
Mm-hmm. You guys
gotta get out there.
You think you're going to make it?
Man, one way or another, I'm going to try to.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to do everything in my power to get out there. That's for sure. Like, dude, European Open looks so sick.
Yeah.
Like, and man, like, I've become buddies with a lot of the European guys.
Oh,
like,
cool.
Fairly tight, like, and so yeah, like, I've talked to them. They've given me the ins and outs, and like, I gotta get there.
You're like, dude, get me out there. And they're like, we can't afford it. We're disc golfers.
Yeah, bro. No shit, man. Like, yeah. The best is like, fuck, man. My boy Tomas Huitinen. My favorite thing is, like, I remember I was making fun of him because he's eating fucking Good and Plenty's.
Oh, wow. I haven't even heard that in a long time.
Yeah, dude. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, you eating Good and Plenty's? He's like, yeah. And he's like, it's big in Finland. I'm like, you guys are some sick pups. And then he was telling me how he only drinks in U.S. because the beer is like water.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But, like, there's so much, like, even Tomas, like, he's got 35,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Like, there's levels of Europe that, like
the Americans don't even see,
yeah,
just really, because they're on the radar.
They'd be like, oh, what are you talking about? Well, no, like, nah, bro, these dudes you got guys coming up, too, that are just filthy.
Yeah.
Like, and, like,
I'm always very, very surprised when I watch anything that's, like, of European disc golf. It'd be some obscure disc golf channel with a guy that I can't understand, and I'm watching someone throw an 800-foot shot. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Man, rooting for the Europeans.
Just something crazy.
Rooting for the white guy in the NBA.
yeah.
I'm always going to be like, if they're in the running, it doesn't matter like what European it is. I'm pretty much probably going to be behind.
Really?
For the granted, there's some other dogs out there, but like.
Well, especially in the FPO this year, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fucking Europeans are killing it right now.
Yeah, dude. I think that's another sport. Like that's another avenue. Like showcasing FPO will help out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, it's a divisive thing going on with everything on that surrounding that.
Yeah.
Like showcasing that a little bit more certainly helps. Like you got like how many individual winners now? Like especially
this year, yeah.
Yeah, you want to talk about parity? You know, what I mean, now that and how sick Colin looked.
Oh yeah.
Man, dude, she wanted that so bad.
For sure, like, she deserved that too.
Like, but that goes to show. My wife, obviously, Miss Swiss Miss. Does not watch disc golf, right? Does not enjoy it.
Most of them
watch
don't.
her videos just to like get engagement, but like she was there when Holland made that putt, and my wife said she got goosebumps.
Yeah, dude. She turned around and was like,
yeah, and that's the moment. Like if that can affect this person who doesn't watch disc,
doesn't give a shit about it.
Yeah, that's what we need to be putting out.
Absolutely.
There, everywhere.
Yeah.
And just show it. So.
I'm with you, man. Dude. Thanks for coming on.
Nah, man, I appreciate it.
That was awesome.
I love you. I love talking disc golf. You guys know it. Man, I haven't done like a podcast in forever. So
yeah. Well,
this is easy.
I'm glad.
I don't have to edit the audio. I don't have to.
You ain't gonna fuck with it.
Send it to Jefferson. To do a video. Like.
Don't worry, the work is done. It was just getting this thing started that was the fucking issue.
Yeah. You guys keep doing what you're doing, man. Like I said, content creators. We need more of them in this sport.
Yeah.
Any bit. And there's no like level of like it doesn't matter if nobody's watching or if everybody's watching. We just need more of it. All that's going to do is help legitimize our sport.
Yeah.
And get our sport that much more out there. Film your rounds, show your friends, get people out there. There's so many other ways. We need to stop getting away from like disc golf growing by just getting somebody out on the course.
Right.
Yeah.
It's time to like show people like all the content that disc golf has to offer and other avenues for people to get into it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely, for sure.
I couldn't imagine
what you guys are doing is sick.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. We love what you do.
Thank you, man.
Big fan of the channel.
Cool, bro.
You and Jefferson. Changing the world in disc golf.
Yeah. One of these days we'll get the two of us on. We'll do like
yes,
that'd be awesome.
We'll do a hang. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll do one of those, and we'll just spit fire. Jeff, we could talk shit. Maybe we'll do like a newlywed special. Like,
oh, we could ask each other questions.
Yeah, that'd be great.
How well do you know your?
Yeah, that'd be great.
There you go.
Yeah, dude.
And if I ever do get on Tour Life, I'll ask one of you guys to be the moderator.
Yes. Yes. What's funny is you'll mention us, and they probably know who we are, but they act like they won't. They'll act like they won't.
Man, I will. Yeah, come on. Those guys all watch it. Like, man, I joke around all the time. I'm like, man, Brody's got to watch our stuff so he knows what happened.
Oh yeah.
Oh
like,
yeah.
He's playing. Right?
He's got to.
Like, how do you? Like, you're not. You really expect Brody to watch 2.5 hours when he can get 15 minutes?
We make it too easy for him.
Yeah. Like, that's why it's like, man, and
That's what I'm saying. If anyone that's plays disc golf, I guarantee they're watching your stuff.
Yeah.
They're watching YouTube content.
For sure.
Absolutely. There's just no way.
That's our normal like man, I was on the course and like I had somebody like he's like, oh, I was like, yeah, we just got back from tour, and he's like, you have a YouTube channel? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what's your name? And he's like, I think I heard it. I'm like, dude, if you watch YouTube, you've seen disc golf world. Like you've seen something of disc golf world for sure.
Yeah.
So
that's
cool to say. That's like, man, and that's what's neat. Like, you're like, I'm sorry, we're trying to get out.
No,
like,
you're good,
bro. Like, what's cool is like how much stuff was there in the 80s and 90s. There's nothing, right? We have epic moments in our sport that have not been on film. We have epic moments that happened this year that are not on film.
Yeah.
Like that are just like not there, and like that's why I'm saying like everybody doing any bit is so much. It's gonna. Like, I hate to have our stories of our games lost. And, like, at one point, that I-55 at De La and the roller ace, the rumored no video, that's going to be lost
at
some point.
Like the Barsby roller, is that what that was?
Yeah. We're going to stop talking about it. Like, you know what I mean? Over time, this will be lost because there's no video. And, like, the stuff that Jefferson and I always say, like, what we do is, it's a time capsule for what's going on, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's going on in disc golf?
Everybody who does fucking content, so go do fucking content.
You heard it here first. Go make content for disc golf.
Awesome, man.
Do it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you so much, dude.
Appreciate it, man.
Peace out.
Later.